some reason our introduction didn't work. So, yeah. Never mind. We tried. At least I remembered to unmute the mic this time. Yay! Thank you, Math Magic Pagan, for the timely reminder. Isn't this exciting? We only had one technical issue and you can all hear me. Hooray. So before we get started, I want to say thank you to Firefly Rises, who put a super chat in, I think an hour before this was scheduled to start. They said, I will start the bidding. I was not planning on buying a student, but it might come in useful. Students, generally speaking, can be very useful things. So thank you for that. It's very much appreciated. I have a magical see-through mug. Ooh. See-through mug is filled with tea. Very necessary on a day like today. It's snowing. Well, it's not snowing, but we have about 6 inches of snow on the ground. And it's cold, and I don't like it. So I have tea, and I don't know how long I've got with you. So I keep looking down at the baby monitor. Oliver has decided that he doesn't want to sleep anymore, which has been an exciting adventure for all of us. Yeah. So if I run off and get a baby, I will be back, but then we might wrap up the stream rather quickly. So today is very exciting. Sorry, there's a lot of waffle when I get going. I'm quite anxious about live streaming, which is why it takes me so long to get to the point. I need to kind of work myself up and get used to the fact that I'm essentially talking to myself. So yeah, it takes me a while to actually get things started properly. So apologies and thank you for bearing with me with that. Today we are talking about how much it costs to not buy a student, but how much studenting and PhDing costs. Spoiler alert, it's a lot. But the reason we're talking about it is because we are launching our fundraising drive. I know we've been fundraising for the last 6 months or so, but we have, and if you've been watching recently, you'll know this, we have decided to take a bit of a risk looking at the finances. By the time we start sending out money for our scholarship program, we'll be about $500 away from being able to fund 2 students. And I've got a little video that Josh did that'll tell you more about that. But for those of you who are new, hi, this is Digital Hammurabi. My name is Megan. You may have seen my husband, Dr. Josh. He tends to get out and about a bit more than I do. But we run Digital Hammurabi together. This is an educational YouTube program. We talk about all things ancient Near East, Egyptology, Hebrew Bible stuff, archaeology, all kinds of exciting things. And one of the really awesome things we're very excited to be able to do is offer a summer scholarship for a PhD student. It's not a lot of money because it's entirely crowdfunded, which is spectacular. I can't tell you how amazing it is that we have so many people who want to support us and want to be able to help a student out. So all of the money that goes to our Patreon, we don't take any of it. It all goes to our scholarship fund. Right, so we have the scholarship fund set up on our Patreon. We also take PayPal donations, hint, hint, if anyone out there is feeling generous right now, at digitalhammurabi@gmail.com. But all of the money that we get through Patreon and through specific itemized PayPal donations go towards our scholarship fund. We've actually just opened for applications and we have 4 applications already, which is really, really cool. And I sent the details out around our professional listserv, and it was so exciting to see it come through my email address and see like all the details and just knowing how many people there are that now have access to that money. So we have 4 applications, and I'm going to give you a little bit of information about those later because I think it's really exciting and really important. But apart from being a crowdfunded scholarship, what we're really trying to do with, it's called HAPS, Humans Against Poor Scholarship. The HAPS scholarship. So what we're trying to do with that is get people who aren't traditionally involved in academia involved in it. You guys are providing the money. You guys will also have the final say in what research gets funded. We're going to have our applicants on over the next couple of months to interview. So all of our viewers, all of our patrons get to ask them questions, get to talk to them and interact with them and kind of get a feel for what's going on in their lives, why they want the money, what research they're carrying out. And then following that, everyone who's contributed to the HAPS fund, whether through Patreon or through PayPal, will get to vote on what 2 students they think they would like to see funded, what research really interests them the most. So it's very exciting. I don't think anyone's ever done anything like this before, so it was a little bit of an experiment, and it's an experiment that's going fantastically. So before we go any further, Josh did make a fundraising video that I'm going to show you, because that just provides a few more details about what's going on. So we're going to watch that together. It's kind of like a premiere and a live stream. Isn't that exciting? And then we'll talk a little bit about how much it costs to be a student and why we really think this is a great way to, well, spend your hard-earned money.
Of crowdfunding a scholarship to enable a PhD student to carry out research over the summer, either at home or in a foreign country. We thought that maybe if we worked hard and publicized it properly, we might be able to raise enough money to make it worthwhile within a year. We started this Patreon in August of 2018. In 6 months, we've raised a total of $1,741.37. As long as our monthly donations stay consistent, we will have raised $3,557.91 by the time we need to start sending the scholarship money. I can't tell you how utterly incredible that is, and how excited and grateful we are to have so many people willing to help fund good, reputable scholarship. That's more than enough to fund 1 scholarship, and only $500 away from being able to fund 2. So, we're going to take a risk. We're going to offer 2 scholarships and launch a fundraising campaign to try to make up that $500 difference. If we don't get what we need in donations, then Megan and I will cover the shortfall ourselves. Asking you all to contribute to something that we're not willing to put our own money into seems wrong somehow. So, this video is to launch our fundraising campaign. You can get involved at our Patreon page, found at www.patreon.com/Digital Hammurabi, or send one-time donations via PayPal to digitalhammurabi@gmail.com. Our Patreon offers a range of benefits to our supporters, and even more exciting, for a limited time, for the next 2 weeks, we will be offering a signed, limited edition print of Megan's illustration of a section of the Neo-Assyrian king Ashurbanipal's lion hunt relief. This will be available to everyone who donates $20 or more, be it via Patreon or PayPal. And of course, everyone who contributes to the HAPS scholarship helps to decide what research project gets funding. After we interview the shortlisted candidates, and you have the chance to ask them some questions, you will be given a vote to help determine which student receives the scholarship. This is a unique opportunity to not only support a PhD student, but to help influence academic scholarship. We hope you'll join us in this adventure. It would be...
Okay, so apparently the audio for that was awful. I'm very sorry about that. Lavender Lady, yes, this is OBS. We run on a Mac, so we are pretty limited in our options for streaming support. If anyone has suggestions, go for it. That video, by the way, is going to be uploaded onto our YouTube channel in about half an hour. So if that was appalling to watch and you need the audio turned up, I'm really sorry about that. Please check back, it'll be uploaded soon. So this picture, this lovely one here, is from the Neo-Assyrian king Ashurbanipal's wall reliefs. They would have been set up in the walls of the palaces, which is really cool. And I've done an illustration. You've probably seen it before. We've got it on t-shirts, but I've done an illustration of that. Sorry, I've got an illustration of that that we want to offer as kind of an added incentive. Like Josh said, well, Patreon has various reward tiers. This particular one is set at $20, only available until the 31st of January. So if you are an existing patron and you bump your contributions up to $20, you will get this. If you are a new patron and you set your tier at $20 or above, you will get this. And if you send us a PayPal contribution, and make sure you note that it's for HAPS, of $20 or above, you will get a copy of this print as well. I'm looking at different printing services. I want to try and make sure it's like, I'm not just going to print this out on my inkjet and send it to you. We're going to have it professionally printed on nice high quality cardstock. And then I will sign it. It can be personalized if you want it to be personalized. Depending on what you want, we might be able to write some extra cuneiform on it. The print will come with Ashurbanipal's titulary written in cuneiform at the bottom, which says, I am Ashurbanipal, great king, strong king, king of the world, king of Assyria, king of the four quarters. I think that's the entirety, which really tells you something about the Assyrian kings' views of themselves. Definitely rulers of the universe. So the reason we are doing this, apart from the fact that we're both academics and we think academic research is important, and we think that getting academic research, making it more accessible to people who don't read academic journals, because really, why would you, unless it was part of your job, who don't read academic journals, who don't spend their time going to academic conferences. We really want to get all of the interesting research that's being done out there, specifically on our YouTube channel, so people can get involved and really engage with what's going on. And there's some really fantastic stuff going on, and we'll look at that in a little bit when I go through some of the applications with you. But being a PhD student is really expensive, and I didn't realise quite how expensive until I started looking at it for myself. You will have noticed from my accent, you will have noticed if you've been around this channel a lot, I'm British, and I simply couldn't afford to do a PhD in my own country. Even though a British PhD typically is only a 3-year time period, funding for humanities is incredibly difficult and hard to get. And often will only cover your tuition. So even if you get funding that covers the payments you have to make to the university, you still have to fund your living expenses, buy food, rent, be able to do stuff like travel to conferences, which is really an integral part of building your career. Excuse me. And it's expensive, it's difficult to do. I couldn't afford to do it in the UK. Excuse me again. So I came over to the States. Funding in the US tends to be a lot better, and the program I'm in at Johns Hopkins University, they fund you fully for 5 years, which means they cover all of your tuition fees, and they will give you a small stipend to live on. I think it's $22,000 a year, which, if you have a family, is not fantastic. I was single when I started this, so it was much more doable. So that gave me enough money to be able to study and to live, eat, go to conferences, pay my rent. But my program doesn't take 5 years to complete. There are 3 years mandatory coursework. That means that I spent 3 years going to classes, doing homework, doing research, and it was enough work that I would have been unable to hold down any kind of paid employment. I was not legally allowed to have paid employment because I'm here on a student visa, but if I was an American student, I would have had severe difficulty holding down paid employment during my coursework. Once you finish that 3-year period, that only gives you 2 years left of funding, and it's virtually impossible to complete a PhD dissertation in 2 years, even working full-time. For some kind of benchmark, 10 years is the upper limit for my degree. Once you hit 10 years, they say you have to graduate or leave. 8 years, 9 years is pretty standard. So you have 3 years in coursework, and then you have an extra 4 or 5 years on top of that to complete your dissertation, which is 3-4 years unfunded that you have to try and find a way to live. You don't necessarily want to go out and get a job, because if you get a job, it means less time spent working on your PhD, which means more time that you have to pay tuition fees, which are pretty expensive. So that's an option, but it's not always a great option for a lot of people. which leaves you with taking out loans. Again, not a great option. Or, I don't know, making a money tree or something. I'm very, very lucky. Josh has full-time employment, so he can support me while I work. But a lot of people don't have that luxury. And one of the things that we want to do is try and help people out who aren't as fortunate as I am and as Josh was. Hence why we have a scholarship fund. And another problem that can happen with PhD funding is it doesn't always continue over the summer months. Sometimes you'll get, and it varies from institution to institution, sometimes you'll get payments that run through the academic year, through August through like May, but then June, July, you're left without an income. And unless you've budgeted carefully through the academic term, you don't really have any money left. Yes, so it's doable, but funding doesn't last forever. And then once you finish, once your funding is done, you're left with filling out grant applications. I've got friends who are done with their funding and are spending, probably more time at the moment filling out grant applications than they are actually working on their PhD dissertations, because there's not a lot of money to go around. So these are very, very competitive. So again, that's where we come in. We have two scholarships of $2,000 each. If you just watched the video I played for you, by the time we get to May, I think we'll only be $500 off the $4,000 mark, which is what this live stream is about. We're trying to encourage people to raise that extra $500. Josh and I are going to cover as much shortfall as there is. We would rather not have to pay $500. We'll do it if necessary, but if we can get some help and you guys get something in return, that would be pretty cool. And I really like the illustration. I'm biased because I drew it, but I think it's really pretty. It's the lion here and Ashurbanipal. I should try and, I meant to get it. I do have it. Oh no, I don't. I meant to get it keyed up so that I could show everybody, but I don't have it, and it would take me far too long to find it, so we're not going to do that. But it's an illustration of these guys over here, and it's very pretty, and includes cuneiform. And who doesn't want cuneiform on a piece of artwork that they can hang on their walls? I mean, I definitely want cuneiform on my walls. I'm a little special though, so it's probably just me. So, too long, don't read. PhDs are really expensive. We want to help people out, and to help people out, we are enlisting the support of anyone and everyone who will contribute a little bit of money to our scholarship fund. You can contribute at Patreon, patreon.com/Digital Hammurabi. You can send us PayPal donations, digitalhammurabi@gmail.com. Everyone who sends or pledges $20 and up will get a very exciting, very limited edition print of an illustration I've drawn of the lion hunt relief that is behind me. So, I mean, it's worth its weight in gold, really. I'm exaggerating slightly. So we have 4 applications already in, so I thought I'd spend a couple of minutes and go through. I won't read them in their entirety because there's an awful lot of stuff in there, but we have one student who is an art historian and is interested in how art was shaped by political events and how art then helped shape the political system itself. And this person would like to use the money of the scholarship to buy plane tickets to Baghdad, because they're going to be excavating at a site in Mesopotamia called Al-Hiba, which is the ancient city of Lagash. And if you're familiar at all with early dynastic Mesopotamia, Lagash is a very famous site because it's one of the participants in something called the Lagash-Umma border conflict. And we have really fantastic texts from this time period that detail like border skirmishes between 2 cities. And obviously they're written by the winner, so we kind of know who the good guys were. But it's really, really cool. And this person is going to go and supervise excavations at the city, which is fantastic. And archaeological excavations are amazing, and I think everybody should go if they can. Obviously not everyone can, but I think they should. Our second application is from an Assyriologist who is interested in the digital humanities, which is kind of what I do. It's using computers to analyze data, to present data, and also to, in many cases, collaborate with other scholars and other researchers in different parts of the world. And this student is particularly interested in 3D scanning of cuneiform tablets. I did a live stream a few weeks ago showing an app that you can get for your phone. It's called Clone, that lets you 3D scan things on your mobile, which is awesome. But this student would like to use the money excuse me, to spend time making very extensive 3D scans of a collection in Rhode Island, which is super cool. Super cool. Our third student, I love how many we have, is particularly interested in architecture and pottery. They are a Near Eastern archaeologist. So we've got an art historian, an Assyriologist, and an archaeologist, which is a fantastic spread. And they would like the money for specific training. Going to Florence and spending time with an archive there that they need for their PhD work. And finally, our fourth student is an anthropologist. I wasn't expecting any anthropologists, that's awesome. Who is particularly interested in the changes in society that occur in early Mesopotamian cities, looking at human-animal relationships, which is fantastic and something I know absolutely nothing about. And they are, from the looks of things, a trained zooarchaeologist, and would like to use the money to attend a 2-week course for technical training for sampling stable isotopes. And I will be sure to ask when we interview this person exactly what that means, because I have no idea. And then they would like to sample teeth from sheep, goats, and maybe pigs from the sites of Ur and Tel Kabir in southern Iraq, which is amazing. So exciting. So, hooray. Let's see what... Sorry. I was just reading a comment. Yami Yomizuki is going to drag their elitist father into making a PayPal donation to show him that he is wrong about non-academics not caring about academic topics, and because they want the print. The print's amazing. I'm going to have to get it. I'm going to have to contribute $20 myself just so I can have the print and hang it on my wall. Yes, I could just make the print, but that's not as exciting. And actually, one of the things that has been absolutely flooring for me is how many different people have contributed to this fund. We've had, I think, 45 patrons at one point or another. That's 45 individuals, plus probably another 5 or 10 people contributing money via PayPal. That's like 55 people who are not academics, who don't work in the field, who just want to see this research get done. Which is, it's amazing, because the narrative you hear so often in academia is that, oh, no one's interested in what we do, oh, it's so boring to other people, oh, it's all blah, 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 like no one cares. And it's not that at all. People do care. People are genuinely interested. And I think a lot of the responsibility lies with academics, because we don't learn how to talk to people who are non-specialists about what we do. It's not even anything about like education, because I can talk to a science PhD and be completely incapable of explaining what I do, the field I study, because I'm so used to talking to people who have the background that I have, that talking to someone without my background is ridiculously difficult, which is so stupid. It's so stupid, and it perpetuates this idea among non-specialists that we're all elitist and we all live in this ivory tower. And yes, some people do, but a lot of people just don't know how to talk to anyone who's not an academic. And that's one of the reasons why we're insisting that scholarship students that we support come on the show, come on our YouTube channel twice if they're successful, because it forces them to really articulate what they're interested in and what they're doing and talk to non-specialists. Yes, Josh and I will be conducting the interviews, but it's for the benefit of our viewers. So we're going to be asking questions that may seem really obvious if you spent the last 6 years researching Mesopotamia, but aren't going to occur to them to explain without being asked maybe, and are essential for people who aren't specialists to understand what's being talked about. And I think it's really valuable to get that experience in talking to people and explaining your work, because it makes it more accessible, it makes it more interesting, and it helps to bridge this weird gap that we have between academia and like the rest of the normal world. So, Yami Yomizuki is saying their father isn't an academic, he's just elitist. Yeah, there are many of those too. Oh, and Christina Blackfeather, I should talk to you about this as well, is going to do a live stream painting for us to raise money for the scholarship. She was talking about painting the Ishtar Gate, which is, this is the Ishtar, well, this is part of the Ishtar Gate. She was talking about painting the Ishtar Gate, but she said that she really likes the Ashurbanipal lion behind us, so she doesn't know what she's painting. It'll be awesome, whatever you do. So when we have details of that, I will be sure to share those out. And we were also talking about her auctioning off the painting afterwards. So not only do you have the chance to own a truly fantastic illustration drawn by yours truly of Ashurbanipal killing that poor lion up there, you also have the chance to own a painting made by the amazing Christina Blackfeather, which would be fantastic. So that was pretty much everything I had to say. If you have any questions, please put them in the live chat and I will get to them. Otherwise, we will probably start to wrap up, because it's been, I don't know how long, it's been some time. And my baby will wake up soon, and no one likes a screaming baby. My tea is also going lukewarm. Lukewarm tea is not a good thing. So we need some more tea. So if you're just joining us, hi, nice to see you. This is a shameless request for money. It's a shameless request for money with like compensation. You get something out of it. You get to fund academic research, which is, I think, is just super cool. But you also get a hand-drawn, signed, limited edition picture of these guys over the, my hand's disappearing, that dude and that dude, the lion and the king, in the background, with some lovely cuneiform written across the bottom. I really should have got that keyed up so that you guys could see it. Let me see if I can get it now, because that is just, it's just silly. It's silly to be talking about it. And I know I have it on my desktop somewhere. So, we'll go hunting. I need some elevator music or something for this, don't I? I do. Ha! There we go. Now when it shows up, it's going to be huge. Zonk. I don't know why OBS does this. Everything that I put in here is bloody massive when I get it in. And we've also had someone suggesting a Digital Hammurabi colouring book. That would be awesome. It would take an awful long time. Like, this illustration took me the best part of 3 months. But maybe, because I'm planning on doing more illustrations, because this kind of thing is really useful for teaching, because sometimes photographs can be quite difficult to see details in. So this is the illustration that will be available to everyone donating $20 or more, either via PayPal or on our Patreon account. The cuneiform at the bottom says, "I am Ashurbanipal, great king, strong king, king of the world, king of the mountains, I think. Oh no, that's king of Assyria. King of the 4 quarters," which is like the fancy way of saying the entire world. It's like the 4 corners of the earth. So that's quite standard Neo-Assyrian titulary. But it looks really cool because it's written in cuneiform. Yes, and it doesn't look so great on the screen, but let's See, if you blow it up, it really is quite detailed. And let me tell you, all of those little rosette things took forever. Oh, they took so long. But I'm really, really, really pleased with it, and I love it, which is one of the reasons why it's our donation reward, because I am apparently very, very arrogant in my drawing abilities. Anyway, TV Tube Me says he looks like he's shaking the lion's hand and congratulating it for receiving an arrow to its head. It does a little bit, doesn't it? Well done, old boy. Congratulations. Yes, that is a sword. It is a sword. Math Magic Pagan said he'd like to donate, but his account says 92 pence. I understand that. Maybe don't donate. We just appreciate you being here and sharing your comments with us. And Saturn88Z, oh, so King of the World was not original to the Titanic movie. It was not. King of the World has been around for a long time. Even before people really knew what the world was, which is quite impressive when you think about it. So this is the, that one. There we go. That is the print that we will be offering if you donate $20 or more. And it will be printed on some very nice cardstock and signed by yours truly, unless you don't want it signed. I don't have to sign them. If you don't want it signed, just let me know. And if you would like something else written on it, I can definitely do that. Depending on the complexity of what you want written, I may be able to write something in cuneiform for you. No promises there, because cuneiform is, as you might be able to tell, quite a arduous thing to write, especially if you want it to look neat and pretty. Yeah, so that was all from me. We haven't had any questions, so I assume that everyone is good. Michael W. Roble says he's rooting for the lion. Yeah. It tried really hard. That whole, I'm going to the British Museum in a few weeks, that whole scene and series of scenes, the lion hunts are everywhere. But there are some quite graphic images of lions dying that are so absolutely realistic. You think that these artists must have spent some time just watching lions expire, which is quite sad, really, when you think about it. But yeah, lion hunting in Neo-Assyrian times was like the kingly sport. It was the way that kings showed their control over the wild and animals and like the non-civilized world. Poor things. The fact that they were caged and then let loose to be killed is probably not so great. These weren't creatures out in the wild that had a chance to escape. They were most often kept in cages and then let loose when the kings felt that they needed to show their power. At least that's what the reliefs show. I'll take some pictures and we'll maybe have a lion hunt live stream so you guys can see them all. Anyway, that is me done. Thank you all very much for joining. If you have any questions, please email me, digitalhammurabi@gmail.com. If you feel like getting this beautiful print, this beautiful print here, please, visit our Patreon at www.patreon.com/digitalhammurabi, or send $20 or more to digitalhammurabi@gmail.com, and we will get those out to you. This is only running for 2 weeks, so after the 2 weeks are up, I will be getting the prints made and sending them out. So do not prevaricate for too long, because they will go away and we will not be doing this again. At least not be doing this year with that particular illustration. We may do something similar next year, when we're looking to fund our 2020 scholars. But thank you all very much. It was lovely to see you. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you soon. Bye.